Hey fam, welcome back. I hope you're doing fantastic. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is MsTopacJay. In today's video, and I'm happy to say that I will be trying out the new Jaclyn Hill X Morphe Brushes Vault collection. And can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Morphe has finally given us Australian-based the opportunity to throw our money at them, like, take my money, because they literally just opened an Australian domain website for us people based here in Australia. I can't even speak. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Morphe. Thank you. Before we get into this video, if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And once you subscribe, make sure notification is turned on so that we don't miss out on any single video from me. So without rambling on too much, let's just jump straight into this review, trying out, demo, and all that of the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe Brushes Vault collection. Let's jump straight into it.
Pray for me, Madura for me. Pray I find my way.
Okay, so I don't really want to get into too much details about the release of this palette because you guys probably already know as much information as I do, but I'll quickly mention that this palette was apparently supposed to launch in June, like 26th of June and whatnot, so they had to push it back because they found that there was some inconsistency with the formula. That's really good that they, took it upon themselves to, kind of seize the launch and kind of tweak it if they did tweak it. I've seen a few thumbnails and a few videos say they didn't tweak it, it's still the same, but whatever, I don't know. We're not going to get into that. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, this is the palette right here. I literally just received it today being the 20th of August. It's currently 10:06 a.m. right now, and I just received it and I am so excited. This took about a week or so to get to me because I did buy it on the Australian domain website, as I said in the beginning of this video. This is the box the eyeshadow palette itself came in. I did buy the entire full collection, so this is what the packaging itself looks like, and I am holding it upside down. I don't know why. And you have all the 4 palettes in there. This is what you're gonna get if you do buy the entire collection. So in terms of price, let me just get my note. Yes, I did write notes because your girl has been more kind of dyslexic lately, so I had to get a note. So in terms of the price, you can buy the whole collection for 75 Australian dollars, which has a 92 Australian dollar value, or for those of my babes based in the US, you can get it for 49 US dollars with $60 value in the US, or in the UK you can get it for 49 UK pounds with £60 value as well. Or if you don't want to buy the whole collection, apparently you can get each palette for 23 Australian dollars, 15 UK pounds, and 15 US dollars for each palette. Now literally when I got this palette, actually before I got this palette, I kept thinking about the fact that this palette, the packaging and everything, reminds me of my Zoeva Cocoa Blend eyeshadow palette in terms of the packaging. And lo and behold, when it arrived this morning, I actually weighed the palette, I weighed one palette from the Morphe Vault collection and I weighed my Zoeva palette, and guess what? They literally are the exact same grams. They both weigh 121 grams. I don't know what the point of what I'm saying right now is, but I just kind of thought to mention that. But they do weigh the same, especially mainly when this Zoeva palette is in its sleeves. Interesting. The main difference though is this Zoeva palette does not come with a mirror, and this Zoeva palette is a little bit longer than this one, but they're both compact, which I really like. Now, based on first impressions on the packaging, I like the fact that it's easy to store. I like the fact that it's nice and cute and adorable little, which is why I really like the Zoeva palette, because literally you can slide this in your handbag and no one will know. You've got makeup in your bag. It's just easy to carry around, so I like that about this. So as I said in the beginning, the Vault collection, you have 4 eyeshadow palettes. I hope I did mention it. Each palette has the name on the spine. I found out that this is called the spine, whatever. You also have different confetti colors on each palette, which apparently is suggesting the colors that's in the palette, which is good. So you also have this ribbon right here that you pull to get all the palettes out. That's actually really cool. I like that. Each palette comes with a mirror, and it also comes with a sleeve covering the shadows as well. And the main box that the palettes came in has Jaclyn's face at the back of it, laughing. Her teeth is whiter than mine, but we get the gist. And it also has a message there, XO Jaclyn Hill. I am not going to read that whole message. And on the box you also have the confetti design as well, which is practical. Okay, so my idea behind this is to talk about each palette and then do a look with each palette. Does that make sense? In terms of swatch, I might not really be doing a live swatch because y'all know, I hope you do know how I feel about swatch. I don't feel like swatch kind of shows you, true pigment and true blendability of a shadow and whatnot. So let's just jump straight into the demo of this eyeshadow palette. Okay, here we go. So I've brought you babes a little bit closer, and I hope this video is not going to be too long for you babes, and I hope the skin on my eye is not going to fall off by the end of this video, but we can do it. Okay, so the first palette that I pulled out is the Armed and Gorgeous palette, and the letter of the Armed and Gorgeous is written in green font. So I'm guessing, yep, it does have a pop of green in there. So each palette has 10 eyeshadows in them, which is really cool, which is also very similar to the Zoever palette too. So I don't mind it, I like it. It doesn't have a scent to it. They do have a lifespan or expiry date of 12 months. 12 months, that's okay. It's okay, it's just a suggestion, you know, you don't. So Armed and Gorgeous looks to be like a warm tone palette with a pop of green. You've got some shimmers in there as well. What look am I gonna do with this? All right, so let's go into the shade Agent, which is described as a matte saffron shade. This one right here, it kind of looks like a washed out turmeric color. Right off the bat, it does have a little bit of a kick up when you do go into the palette. Here we go. But yeah, let's not tap it off and just, oh, let me just tap it. Oop. Just gonna put this in my crease, if it is going to go on my crease, because it's not moving. Perhaps maybe this shadow needs powder. So let me just go ahead and set my lid, because the feeling it's giving me right now is that your base is too sticky. I think the eyeshadow is not really working so well with an unset base compared to this side when it's just going smoothly. So it's blending smoothly on this side, but not on this side. So I am just gonna go ahead and set both lids lightly. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and just give you base my opinion at the end. Don't dust it off if you are going to be using the shade. Just once you pick it up, just go straight in with it. It's not crazy pigmented, you know, so you really need to just pack it on. All right, so now I'm going to go into the shade Proud. It's described as a dark truffle shade. I'm just going to pack this in the outer corner. Oh, the gold in here is the shade Coin, which is described as a glitzy gold sheen. Oh! Why am I doing this? I think I should put the concealer down first. Oh, it's actually going really nicely. Ooh, do you see this? Now, the thing is, each time I go into the palette and I pick up the shimmer shade, it basically kind of, I don't know, it kind of does it pushes the shade up. Does that make sense? It pushes it up, It's almost like it wants to leave the palette. I'm not satisfied with this, but we're just gonna roll with it because we've got 3 other looks to create. But the shadow that I put in the outer crease right here, I mean this place right here, you can see it's not as deep as it should be, because every time I try to go in, it just doesn't want to stay on. I really wanted to use the green in this palette, but it looks like we're just gonna stay away from it because there is another green in another palette. So yeah. Oh, let me see. Oh, just applying it here. Okay, that's actually pretty. And I didn't really dip into it too much. Softly pigmented. It's not crazy pigmented. Okay, here we go. And so now let's go into the second look. So the second palette I've picked up looks like to be the Alum Palette, and this has like brown writing on it. So this is a brown, yep. Oh, this is a true warm tone palette. Oh my gosh, look at these shades. These shades are beautiful. It needs no description. You still have shimmer shades in here. You have 4 shimmer shades and 6 mattes. It looks like that seems to be the common theme in each palette, so that's interesting. As you can see, I've already set my lid. I didn't set with a powder. So let's go into the shade Alert, which is described to be a matte deep ochre shade, and just apply that in my, oh yeah. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Why am I whispering? That is beautiful. I like the shade. Oh, I like the shade. I'm bringing it to my inner corner as well because I really like the shade. Oh, this is blending so nicely. All right, here we go. This is the second look done. Guys, I really like this palette. This palette blended much more easier than the first palette, and I can't even remember the name of the first palette anymore. Literally, that's how unvibing I was with it. I don't know if that makes sense, but this one right here, the Ringlight palette, I absolutely love. Let's go into the third palette. I'm keeping this lipstick on just in case I decide to use the same lipstick for the next look. Okay, so next palette we have the Bling Blows palette. This is the purple theme. You have the, you know, kind of purple confetti and stars and whatnot scattered throughout. Yep, this palette definitely screams royalty to me. It's probably because of the fact that the purple is like kind of bang spanking almost in the middle of the palette right there, and I'm definitely going to be using that purple, so that better show up on my lid properly. Okay, oh my gosh, this shade Berry treasure. Oh my gosh, this shade Berry. Look at this. Oh my lord, this is both beautiful and intimidating. Do you see that? This is beautiful. Oh, and it keeps going, and when you're done swatching it, it kind of turns black. Hang on, do you see that? Like initially it starts looking purple and then it turns black, and look at my hand now too. Damn. Okay, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do something. Let me just do this. Okay, well, we've done that. I haven't set the concealer on my lid. All right, I better switch to a brush, but I don't want to use any brush because it's gonna, anyway, let's just use a concealer brush and just pack this on the lid. I can still see the reflex. Can you see it? I can still see it, which is good. Oh, that is beautiful. It's like I already combined purple shadow, black shadow, and some spot glitters on my lid, literally. I'm just gonna switch to the cleaner side and pick up the shade Gem, the purple shade. Let's just apply it to the center of the lid to make it more purpley in the center. That is a beautiful purple. I'm imagining this purple on its own. Okay, so I do have a little bit of fallout on my face, but I will talk about the fallout at the end of this video. I'm gonna go into the shade Spark, the matte ruby red, and just use this to blend the edge of my crease. Okay, here we are. Now onto the last palette. Thank you, Jesus. There's something in our teeth. If you still see some purple tones on my eyes, just squint your eye, ignore it, look away, focus on the next thing, okay? Because we've been here for almost 3 hours now, okay? So bear with me. So onto the last palette, which is called Dark Magic. I do not like the name of this palette. I don't like it, okay? I'm not into dark magic, all right? But the letters is in green color. So yeah, this is the green tone. Ooh. Okay, so actually I kind of thought this was gonna intimidate me, okay? A lot, but it doesn't really. I mean, it does, but not to the extent that I was really like, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't, yeah. This shade Trickery, oh my lord. Do you see this? Oh, I'm just gonna grab the shade Inside Job, that green matte shade. Oh, matte dark jade shade or whatever it is, and just apply it all over my lid using a concealer brush. And once again, I did not set my concealer. There's no other shade in here that I like to use to kind of blend the crease. So I don't know if I'll be able to use this palette as a standalone palette, but we still need to try and use it as a standalone palette. So I'm going to go into the shade Mojo, which is like a brown shade, described as a matte smoked hickory shade. I don't know. So let's just grab it and use this instead to blend out the edge of the green shade. Now I'm gonna grab a cleaner blending brush and just blend to filth. I'm gonna pick up that shade Trickery, the green shimmer shade. It's very wet, like it's so wet to touch. It's so like moist. Just gonna put it in the middle of my lid, and then when you apply it, it looks like it looked in the palette, not like it looks on my finger. Does that make sense? So on my finger, it has this like metallic finish to it. In the palette, you can see that it's a shimmer shade, you know. I wish it could look like how it looks on my finger right now. Ugh, it's doing my head in a good way. Yes, I'm going to a Nigerian party. Hello. This is so easy to use. Let me go into the shade Busted and just see. This is that blue shade described as a matte ocean blue. I'm gonna grab the shade Potion, which is this kind of avocado shade, avocado green shade, and that's what it's described as, avocado matte green, and just smudge this there too. Let's grab the shade Power Cut, the shimmer shade, with the blending brush. This is the metallic silver shade, and just put that in brow bone. I'm gonna bring it a little lower as well. Let's blend that out. This is a cool tone eye look, man. Okay, here we are. Here's the fourth look, and I almost forgot that I haven't come on camera to tell you guys about the fourth look, but actually, let me just give you my opinion on the collection overall. Now, when they announced that they were coming out with this, my initial thought was, oh, that's cool. But secondly, I kind of thought, why didn't they just bring this out as a Jaclyn Hill x Morphe brush palette too? You know, like the first big palette Jaclyn Hill released with Morphe. I was like, why didn't they just do it like that? But at the same time, I kind of felt like, okay, because this palette is broken down, it's split into 10 shades in each palette, that actually grabbed my attention more, because I like the fact that I can actually just go in and select which color I want to use if I were to travel with it. If I was going somewhere and getting ready at a friend's house, I can select the palettes that I want to use based on the color stories in the palettes and just take that with me. Like the price is not bad. I mean, Australia currency, it's a little bit expensive. It's $23, but if we kind of want to get down to like the technicality of prices or whatever, each palette you'd be buying each shadow for $1.50 US cents and $1.50 UK pounds, and in Australia it'll be $2.30 Australian dollars for each shadow, which is not bad. I don't really buy single shadows, but if I were to find single eyeshadows for that price, $2.30, yes, I would definitely be picking it up. So if we were to break it down that way, that is very, very affordable. A lot of people have compared this Vault collection to the first collaboration Jaclyn did with Morphe, saying that the colors are very, very similar. And me too, like when I was looking at the palette online, and I said to myself that if I get this collection, which I ended up doing, I won't feel the need to get the first collaboration, because the first collaboration, to be honest with you, looks quite similar to this collection. It might not be the same, the undertones might be different, can't tell you exactly because I do not have it, so the undertones might be different, they might swatch differently and whatnot. Like, I would not be going ahead and picking that palette up. All right, so let's get into each palette, from my most favorite to my least favorite palette that I won't really be picking up because it just performs so poorly. So my most favorite, of course, is the Ring Alum palette. In terms of pros, I like the consistency of this palette, but before that, I really like the colors in this palette. I like the matte. The matte applies so easily, so beautifully, and they also feel really smooth. They're not really as powdery on the fingertips like the other palettes are. Like, these ones are so smooth to touch. The shimmers though could use a little work. The shimmers are a little bit crumbly, but they still do have quite a fair bit of pigment to it. Now, this does perform really nicely on concealer that is not set with a powder, and if you do like setting your concealer with a powder, if you cannot do without it, you will still get a nice pigment out of it. You just need to stack it up, like build it up a little bit to get your preferred pigment. This palette as well had minimal kick up, you know, when I was dipping the brush into it, and it also had minimal fallout. There was some fallout, but it wasn't as bad. That's my most favorite palette in this collection. So my second favorite palette is the Bling Blows palette. Oh my lord, this is my bae. The main thing that's kind of throwing me off with this palette is the shade Hush Hush, this one right here, which is described as a matte lilac mauve matte shade. Basically, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this shade, especially if on my skin tone. I mean, I can use it to set my concealer, but it's kind of a little bit on the, I don't know. If this wasn't in it, I wouldn't mind if they could replace that with a more muted ruby red type of shade, you know, more muted color of the spark, so that we can use that as a lighter transition. Does that make sense? I would really appreciate that. Yeah, but aside from that, I like it. The shade Berry Treasure, that's my treasure. That's my berry treasure right there. Like, it's just so nice. It's so interesting, just really nicely pigmented, and I like that about this palette. So I would recommend this, especially if you're someone who don't mind colors like this. It does have a little bit of a kick up in the palette, just not a lot, and it had a little bit of a fallout. Yeah, the purple shade, my con for this palette is the fact that the purple shade is a little bit crumbly. The shimmer shade, actually the shimmer shades in all these palettes does have a little bit of crumb to it, and it don't really work well when you spray the brush. And on a positive note, even if you don't spray the brush, you will still get a nice pigment out of it, which is really, really nice. All right, my next favorite palette, my third favorite palette, even though I hate the name of this palette. I don't know why people choose names like this, but whatever, it's your prerogative. But my third favorite palette of the 4 palettes in this collection is this palette. I can't speak because the name makes me freaking nervous. It's the palette Dark Magic. This palette, which is what I left on my eye, because this is what we did last. All I know is, and all I can say is, every time I pick up this palette from now on, I feel like I will be geared, or I will go towards creating a green type of look, because that's what this palette screams out to me. It's a green concentrated palette in terms of the color story. I mean, you still do have your silver shades in there, the metallic silver, the other silver shade, which in my opinion, Anno has, I don't really like them. I mean, this is a cool tone palette after all, so I guess the shades in there are supposed to be cool tone, but at the same time, I feel like these are not, I mean, it's showing up nicely here now, but I applied one of the shimmer shades in my inner corner and it's not as vibrant as I would like it to. I mean, I didn't spray the brush. Maybe I should have sprayed the brush, but compared to the other palettes that I didn't have to spray the brush, you know, for the shimmers and whatnot, and they applied really nicely, I was just a little bit let down by the shimmers in here. However, the shade Trickery though, I was not let down by the shade Trickery, honey. Like, you can see that shimmery trickery on my lid right there, the spotlight. It's really easy to apply with the finger, with a flat concealer brush, with a eyeshadow brush even. I did not mean to flip you off. I did do that on purpose. I am sorry. I apologize. Okay. But yeah, it's really nice and easy to apply. And did I even spray with, I didn't spray the brush with water. I didn't spray the brush whatsoever. And it doesn't really need to, because the moment I realized that once you spray the brush for these shimmer shades, it kind of look a little bit crumbly on your eyelid and whatnot, I just decided to stop doing that because I didn't want that mess. Also, this is very lightweight on the skin, on the eyes as well, same as the other palette. So this palette, I absolutely love this palette. I just don't like those silver-ish shimmer shades in there. They just in my opinion. The shade Potion right here, it's something you see that you feel like, do I feel like I need to puke? Because the color kind of, I don't know, you know, but it performed really nicely, especially with the green inside job that's on my lid, you know. Another color in this palette that I do not get is the shade Shh. Yeah, you too shh about creating colors like this. Why is this color in this palette? It does not make sense. Did you put this color and also this color, the color Poof? This one right here, like Poof you. Why'd you put this color in this palette? It's beige, and this one, was the plan for like light skin, dark skin, people of color, non-people of color? Was that the plan? Because if that was the plan, yo honey, this is wrong. Like, it's just, how is this supposed to look on my lid? I don't know. I mean, I guess I could use it as a transition, but it would just look a little bit muddy in my crease, and hello, nobody wants that now. But aside from that, I like this palette. The shades blend really nicely, easily, and this look literally took me about 5 minutes to create. Now, you will get fallout, but aside from that, it's okay, and there was minimal kick up in here as well. All right, my least favorite palette, which I don't know if I'll be picking this up anymore. I don't like this palette, or maybe because it was the first palette that I used, so I will try it again. I don't know what others are saying about this particular palette. Anyway, this is the Armed and Gorgeous palette. There's nothing gorgeous about this, and it is more armed than gorgeous, which means it's armed to literally ruin your mood. That's how I felt when I was creating a look with this palette. The colors in here, I did not mind it. I just felt like they were a little bit off. Like, what's this gray shade doing in this palette? Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand what the idea behind this was. Like, did they say, okay, we're going to look pretty, now let's put a vomit in there? Every time I see gray shades like this, all I think about is vomit. I think it's because of cartoons, because vomit in cartoons have this shade. Does that make sense? But I don't like this palette. I mean, the shade Coin did apply really nicely all over the lid, you know, it was really nice, but the other ones I didn't really like it. Guilt Trip, it was okay too, but it wasn't my cup of tea or my cup of coffee or even cup of sugar, even though I don't drink with sugar, you know what I mean. But the matte shades as well, they were very patchy. They weren't really blending nicely. They weren't really easy to build up on top of each other, which means they're not really layerable or whatever. I don't know what happened with this one. Something happened. And one thing I noticed is the fact that, like, at the back of the palette I do not like, the Armed and Gorgeous palette, the code there is applied with a paper. Where is it? Oh, you can't see it. It's a bit blown out. You see, that's a paper right there. Meanwhile, the other palette, it's literally printed on it. Oh, dang it. So is this like something you just threw in? Let me put it off. It's still printed on it. Oh, the code is different. If you have this palette, can you please check the back of your Armed and Gorgeous palette and tell me what code you see there? Because the code that's on the paper that is stuck on the palette, and by the way, it does say version 2 at the back of all the palettes, but this Armed and Gorgeous palette, the code at the back here, it says the one that's printed on before they put the paper on top says ABO3H. Meanwhile, the code that's on the paper that they slapped on top of it is ABO6H. So 3H, 6H. I don't, maybe, if you have this palette, the Armed and Gorgeous palette, can you please let me know the code that's on the back of your palette? Like, it will be right next to the written stuff that's right here. Do you know what I mean? Please let me know down below, because I am quite curious, and let me know how your palette performed, the Armed and Gorgeous palette, because this was horrible. The matte shade was just ridiculous. Okay, I did not like it at all, and I feel mad spending whatever how much I spent on this, $16 something Australian dollars. It's just horrible. I don't like it. The matte, I don't want it. All right, so that's what I think about each of the palettes, and I believe I've already told you which one I would recommend, which one I wouldn't recommend. So I don't want to take too much of your time because I've already taken a lot of your time as it is, and I literally I don't know how long this video is gonna be, and I am so fucking nervous. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope what I said in this video and what I showed in this video was able to help you to decide whether or not you should go for this collection, or which palette out of the collection you should go for. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do plan on picking up the collection as a whole or one of the palettes in the collection, and please ask me whatever question you have in the comment section down below, just in case I forgot to mention something, which I would not be surprised if I forgot to mention something about these eyeshadow palettes. Today's fanbase notification is Jamie Brown. Thank you, Jamie Brown, for your support. Thank you for watching my video, and thank you, fanbase, for sticking with me. I appreciate every single one of you, babe. So thanks so much for watching. As always, whatever doing to love yourself, and by God's grace, I hope I'll see you, babes, in my very next video. Bye.